And let's welcome in Meghan Chayka, who is co-founder of Staffleets, and she'll be with us during the first round of the NHL Draft on ESPN, breaking down all the prospects. This will be 4 years in a row working together, Meghan. Let's start with Matthew Schaefer. It appears the top pick of the draft, #1 overall. What makes him worthy of that selection?
Well, he's so enticing because he is like that #1 defenseman. You think in the NHL, like a Heiskanen that really controls the play. They're a quarterback. That's what Schaefer is like. Now, I mean, his skating is what really stands out. I saw him first in that USA CHL game, and he just is dominant skating through transition, really controlling the play. You know, he only had 17 games in the OHL because he got injured in the World Juniors. But 17 games is such a good sample size to see just how great of a player he could be. So the flip side of that is I had a few scouts said, could he even be better than he looked to start the season? Clear right now that he is that defenseman, and he can really be huge asset to any team that picks him. Very hard to find that #1 defenseman in the NHL. You have to overpay in free agency. No one wants to trade a player like Matthew Schaefer. So you got to think the New York Islanders, when they drew that #1, were frothing at the mouth.
What a beautiful skater, man. That acceleration is something. Now, Michael Misa, some consider the top offensive player in this draft. What stands out about his skill set?
Well, he had an exceptional status in the CHL. There's only ever been 9 players, so that's just how good he was so early. Like a Connor McDavid, that was an exceptional status. He looks like a Nick Suzuki when he plays. There's no holes in his game. He's a complete 200-foot player, very much a playmaker. So going into the season, I was thinking, I'm going to watch his passing. But Misa scored 72 goals. Wow, 72 goals in the OHL. So he can score, he can make plays. He's just an offensive juggernaut.
And, of course, the Sharks pick second, so they can add him if they want him, assuming Schaefer goes first. Top-rated American-born player, James Hagens from Long Island. That's, Islander fans are kind of thinking about that. Played at Boston College with Ryan Leonard and Gabriel Perreault. Again, Isles top pick. You wonder, do they go off the board? But what stands out about Hagens' game?
Well, that hometown little crowd, him being a New York Islanders fan growing up, he was going into the season thought of to be maybe a #1 prospect. And I would say he could be the best playmaker in this crowd. He identifies passing lanes, really plays at high speed, has high hockey IQ, can control the puck in the offensive zone. And that connection to New York Islanders, you never know, Bucci. We've already seen in only 4 years some really big jumps. So could be a Hagens, but I do think in that top 5 is where he'll shuffle out.
Of course, the Blackhawks pick third. I shook his hands at the NCAAs this year. He's got big mitts, Meghan, so, most great athletes have big hands. Draft is, of course, heavy with Canadian prospects this year, but there are quality European players as well. Anton Fondell, how good is he?
He's great. I mean, he doesn't really have that wow factor. I saw him at the U18s, and what really jumped out at me is his poise. And what will translate in the NHL is his ability to make plays under pressure. He really excels in tight speed and really in those tight areas where you don't have time and space in the NHL. So you can see Fondell transition really well, and he maybe doesn't have that high ceiling, that, extreme talent, but he's a solid prospect. He has that size, and he'll go really high.
Yeah, so Chicago 3, Utah picks 4. So the 4 players you just talked about, those teams can get those players if they want them. We don't see goalies go in the first round very much. I'm not sure why. It's such an important position. What about this year? Is there a chance?
Well, it's hard developmentally to know how goalies will shuffle out, but you have Ravensburger from Prince George. I believe he'll go in the first round. And why? Well, he has the exact framework of what works in the NHL right now. 6'5" frame, very athletic, so he can make those extreme saves. He really jumps out at a lot of scouts when they see him play. And what's interesting about him is he actually catches with his right hand. And only under 5% of goalies in the NHL catch with their right hand. So a little quirky, a lot of size, and I think there's a lot of teams that would like him.
That is always still funny to look at after all. I mean, Tony Esposito caught in that hand. He's a Hall of Famer, one of the best ever. Meghan, can't wait to see you in LA. Always fun to cover the NHL Draft. It's about the future. It's about hope, about these young, exciting athletes getting on with their lives. Friday, June 27th. See you there, Meg.